Today we're over here at Virgin Hotels with the CEO, Raul Leal. And you know, at Virgin Hotels, as they always say, screw it, let's do it. Here we go. Today we are at the corporate office of Virgin Hotels with their CEO, Raul Leal. Raul is the chastity belt that has made Virgin Hotels impregnable against the competition in their market segment and beyond. He is the man that has took a PowerPoint presentation and turned it into an iconic hotel brand known as Virgin Hotels. Today, he will teach us how to lower OTA commissions, keep the bank at bay during a pandemic, and make new construction as smooth as possible on this episode of True Hotel Leaders, where leaders teach leaders. So today, we are here with the CEO of Virgin Hotels, Raul Leal. What's going on, man?
What do you mean, man?
It's I'm hearing some rumors in the air, and I don't know how true it is. But you know, the audience really don't know you that well, from my side of the field, anyway. You know, so tell us a little about yourself and how you got in the game and how you got started.
Well, thanks so much for that. Well, you're here at Virgin Hotels headquarters. I hope you like this place.
I love it. I love it. This place is amazing. I love that chair.
It's totally Virgin. So. Been with the company close to 11 years now, and we launched the company in 2010. And at this point, I think my tenure's up, and it's time to do some other things, some other disruptive things, hopefully in the industry. But it's been an amazing ride with Virgin Group. They're just a great company, and for someone like me who's been in the hotel business for a long, long time, since I was a child, actually, a kid. It's been a great experience stepping out of the hotel business and working with a really beloved, global company, launching a business that they weren't in, and just, learning so many things along the way. So I'm very blessed and very, very grateful for the experience.
So how did you get your start in the hotel industry? Like, what's your background?
Well, I've told the story many times, but my background is not unlike many of us in the industry, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of us started off working in the back of the house in different areas. I went, when I was in middle school, started working part-time with my dad, who was in the hotel business, and he was in the restaurant side of it.
Oh, wow.
And I started working as a busboy / dishwasher. And it just got in my blood. I loved it. And I told my dad I want to be a general manager of a hotel one day. And the reason for that is because I used to see the general manager coming in every day and having breakfast and lunch and signing the bill. And I said, I want to be that guy. So my dad said, well, I think you've got to, work a little harder and finish school. And, I think you can probably get there if you apply yourself. But that was my inclination back then. I loved the industry from day one. Mm-hmm. And got to the goal of becoming a general manager, which is a wonderful job, I think. And hopefully was able to help a lot of people along the way. And then had my own company, and then Richard Branson came along and hired me for this gig about 10 years ago.
Oh wow! Yeah. So that must have been a really tough move. Like, you own your own company. You have your partners and everything else, and then you say, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and build a whole new brand and start from scratch. Like,
it was tough because those were my family almost, and my business partner. Is still family. But when Richard came calling, I saw an opportunity, again with a global brand, to launch a disruption into the hotel business, another lifestyle hotel brand, and I thought it was too good to pass up. And he actually said to me, he encouraged me, and by the way, his name is Richard, and he's English as well. And he said, I think you'll do great with them, and you should go for it. So there was a lot of positivity behind it. So I left that family behind and then found a whole new one here. And besides our team here, the Branson family and Virgin Group feels like family and always will.
So you've been with Virgin Hotels for just about 11 years right now.
Yeah.
Like, what made you decide to stay for so long?
Well, I wanted to finish what I started. And what I was hired for was to help create the brand. Mm-hmm. We founded it, started it up from scratch. I think we started up from a PowerPoint presentation. Lots of brainstorming, lots of ideas, lots of innovators inside Virgin, as you can imagine. And then, it took us a while to come up with the concept. And then it took us a while to find the first hotel, because back then the cost of capital was so cheap for the REITs. We couldn't compete at the time. So it took us a while to find the first hotel. And of course, we selected a historic bank building, which we fell in love with, but was even more difficult to renovate. So that took us a while. Once we opened that, then we started signing other management agreements and investing in other properties and went forth. And we had a lot of success with that hotel. It was voted the #1 hotel in the U.S. by Condé Nast and #6 in the world. So once we validated the concept, then off to the races.
How old was the building in
It's a wonderful building. It's a 1926 bank building that was actually designed by a couple of gentlemen that had only designed 2 buildings like it. One was in New York, and they were both really theater designers. So if you look at the outside of the building, it's so ornate and beautiful. We love the public spaces, and we thought this would be a great building for us to showcase that Virgin Hotels isn't just going to be another tall glass modern building, that we're going to be different, and that we're going to be part of the neighborhood.
So it's pretty much like a historic building.
It is a historic building.
I love historic buildings.
I do too.
My maintenance department doesn't like them, but I love them.
I know. I understand, and I feel their pain for sure, but I still love that building. It's just beautiful.
So I guess we can say that the rumors are true, that you're going to be stepping down as the CEO of Virgin Hotels.
I am. I'm stepping down at the end of February, and again, I'm really, really grateful for the time that I've had here, and there's a wonderful team here who are committed to the growth of the brand, and the brand will continue to grow. We have 3 hotels opening this year. Las Vegas opens, New Orleans and New York opens, and then followed by Edinburgh and another European location that I can't disclose but is under renovation right now.
The thing that you have is that you're always true to yourself. You come from a humble background. There's a guy out there that says, hey, there's a busboy out there say, hey, this used to be Raul's job.
Yeah.
So it means that you're able to connect with your staff on a whole nother deeper level. Do you have any advice for the guys out there that don't come from your background, but they need that same deep connection when it comes to being an executive in an executive office?
Well, look, I think it's fairly simple, and some of these you've heard before, right? I mean, it really starts with believing in yourself, and I'm a big believer in goals. Think long term. I mean, what's the end result? What do you want to do in life? What makes you happy, and what are you passionate about, right? And then you got to work hard. Nothing is given. We live in a society today where there's lots of instant gratification. You see millionaires being born overnight because of technology and what forth. But I still think nothing trumps hard work at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And I think perseverance, having goals, and along the way, I do quite a bit of mentoring and some for Cornell. And along the way, I always tell the students that, man, it's always great to have great mentors if you can find them. Because I've had some good ones, and without those, I would not be here at all. I've had issues in my life and things that I had to work through and areas that I needed improvement on, and I've had some hard-nosed, real great mentors that have helped me through those difficult times. It's great to find somebody who wants to help you, and there's plenty of people that do, by the way. Mm-hmm. That's why I have a lot of faith in this country and in the world ultimately.
Do you do a lot of mentoring yourself, or?
I try to mentor as many people as I can. Currently right now I'm doing some mentoring for Cornell. Okay. And part of a mentoring program, but I do as much as I can and spend as much time with our teams as possible, for sure. I'm always available to them.
I can see you actually as like the head professor of Cornell. If I had you as the head professor of Cornell, this whole industry would be like turned upside down. Like we'll be rocking.
Well, we definitely have a lot of fun for sure. I dressed up the other day for our Cornell team. I dressed up in costume. I won't tell you what, but I was trying to prove a point though.
Most hotels feel that the OTAs are becoming a little too powerful. Mm-hmm. And it seems like, Virgin Hotels they're beating them at their own game. Like, what are you doing that nobody else is doing?
Well, I don't think we share that philosophy. Mm-hmm. I think they're not going away.
Yeah.
And, they are basically our partners, right? But, we're fluid enough to be able to try new strategies anytime. We don't have a big, with all due respect, we don't have the rules of a big legacy brand that apply to us. We're more like a big brand with the spirit of an independent. Mm. So we're able to try, new strategies all the time, whether it's, discounting on a minute by minute basis or trying new things on our website. But look, direct to website is still the most cost effective way, to get it done. And we do a lot to try to get people to our website to book, just like the big brands. At the heart of it, though, I do think today it's about an experience. And it's funny, I was watching, I think it was last year during the last Super Bowl, I was watching a commercial, and one of them was about the OTAs, and the commercial made me laugh. I thought it was funny. It touched me, right? Then, up after that was a commercial of one of the bigger brands. And I thought it was very serious and stoic. So I thought look, if you can find a way to connecting with your consumers, whether it's the OTAs or the big brands or whatever, people are looking for that emotional connection today. I think that's the best way to be effective. And I think that's what Virgin does well. Virgin connects with our consumers on that level where, it gives them a little bit of a wink and a smile a little bit. And that's really our biggest advantage. Not just discounting or whatever else. It's saying, look, we have a real experience and you're going to enjoy your time here. And that's really what we try to tout through our ads and our social media, the experience of the hotels.
Absolutely. For those of you that don't know, you're not familiar with the Google ads and the Google hotel ads. I just want to give you an example of what this looks like. Like this is, I can't say, I'm not saying they don't know what they're doing, but I'm just saying if you look at this ad, you can tell that they're just practicing at this particular hotel. And if you look at this ad, you can tell that they're just practicing at this particular hotel. But when you look at this one from Virgin Hotels, you can tell that they're serious and they know what they're doing just by looking at the prices and seeing how well they're going to get the clicks and so on and so forth. We analyze a lot of OTA listings, on hotel management do's and don'ts when we're evaluating the property. So that's how we came across this particular method that, for those of us that run the, Google hotel ads, we know that this is what's going to work. And what the other guys are doing, they just may be A/B testing or something like that. So we see that, of course, that Virgin Hotels is beating OTAs at their own game. How has that helped as far as like lowering your commissions and so on and so forth?
Well, I think everybody has an agreement today with the OTAs on whatever discount they have, and we can only get so much. We can't get the same as a big brand because we don't have the amount of hotels that some other brands do, right? But look, we use the OTAs selectively, when we need to, fill in the gaps. I mean, right now there's a lot of gaps, like with a lot of hotels, right? Yeah. We're in the middle of a terrible, terrible time, and I think we need to look at our OTAs as partners, and that's what we're trying to do every single day. But when things are busy, when the hotels are all running 80% occupancy and maxing out, we use them to fill in gaps. We don't resent our partnership with the OTAs, and I don't think anybody should, but it's really about the revenue management cycle. And are you revenue managing your demand properly, midweek, day by day, hour by hour today as things change, right? But I still go back to the point of view that driving direct results to your website is the most important thing. The question is your website and your experience geared up for it? Because today's consumer will see past that. Today's consumer knows when it's gimmicky, whether it's the truth, or whether you're transparent or not. And I think the future consumer is looking for today's companies to be really transparent. That's who they're going to stay with in the future, regardless of how much money you spend on ads.
Spoken like a true CEO.
Thank you.
So I was wondering, when it comes to the OTAs, why do you believe like some of the bigger franchises aren't adopting the same strategy that you guys have perfected, obviously?
I think they do sometimes, but I really don't know the answer, right? It's up to them. They have a broader strategy. Obviously, our strategy with as few hotels is not going to be the same as a Marriott or a Hilton that have 4,000 or 5,000 hotels. So I really can't answer on their behalf, but I still go back to the fact that it should be a partnership at the end of the day because both businesses can benefit from each other.
When Virgin Hotels first put its feet on the ground, you guys have an aggressive expansion plan.
Yep.
And then a couple of wrenches got thrown in the mix, so it kind of slowed things down. Was there anything in particular that was causing the slowdown?
I think a couple of things. I think we probably underestimated the time to put together the concept. the more that we thought about it, we kept on doing lots of focus groups to identify our core customer, really what the concept was going to be, who was the customer going to be, and how were we going to differentiate it. I think that was one.
Okay.
We took a little bit longer than anybody thought. We really were in no hurry, and everybody kept asking, why don't you have more hotels? And I mean, really the answer was really quality over quantity, and it still is with Virgin. I mean, if you take a look at Virgin Group as a whole, Virgin Group is never the biggest, but the experience always stands out among the best. So that was a little bit. And part of it is what I mentioned before too. When we launched, there was an anticipation that like in 1986 and 1987, there's going to be a lot of foreclosures and hotels that were going to come back cheap and buy them for pennies on the dollar, much like today, by the way. But, the cost, it never really happened, and the cost of capital, again, for the REITs was much cheaper than ours. So, look, at the heart of a great hotel is also making the right real estate investment.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of like buying, the right house at the right price and never falling in love with the real estate, which is rule number one, right? So we wanted to make sure that the first one that we bought and the first few from a real estate perspective were going to be ultimately successful. So we had to wait.
You guys got the right one the first time.
Yeah, it was, look, it's no pressure, because Richard Branson said to me one time jokingly, he said, don't lose too much sleep. He said, remember, we're a privately held company. We can wait as long as we want. So I said, Richard, I lose sleep anyway, but thank you for that. Now,
one of the biggest weaknesses in the hotel industry in this day and age is technology. You still have people out there, hotels out there that's using Fidelio. I don't know if you remember how old Fidelio
I remember.
is.
I sure do.
So, Virgin Hotel, it seems like they just went in a different direction. They wanted to focus on the technology first. What made you make that decision versus just going with the flow like everyone else?
Well, I think most decisions are really, if you're a smart organization, most decisions are driven by the consumer. So our point of view is that the consumer wants control of their experience through their device. So our focus was to make sure that we put together something groundbreaking on the app side, something that would control the experience inside the room, inside the hotel. Also, there's a membership piece to the app that a lot of people don't know about, and really the concept for the brand is membership without dues. So basically what that means is the following. Once you sign up with the preferences program that we have inside the hotel, which also goes to saving us some labor dollars, I'll explain how in a minute. Once you sign up for that program, then you have access to all kinds of special privileges inside the hotel. So our point of view is it's a bit of instant gratification while you're staying inside the hotel. So you could get push notifications on your phone that tell you, hey, by the way, in 1 hour, the chef is doing a special tasting in the kitchen. Or, come down at midnight, there's a special screening of X movie or something going on. So you kind of feel like you're a member inside the hotel once you sign up for the program. And we think that preferences have been and will be a wave of the future. And the companies that are able to capture those preferences, I say respectfully, and are able to use them for their customer and delight and surprise them are going to come out ahead.
Membership without dues. That is powerful.
Sure.
Now, incorporating the new technology, how has that worked out for your bottom line with operational costs?
Well, I think I can give you one specific example. So I mentioned preferences. For example, if you're a customer and you're part of the No program, our preferences program, you're able to curate your mini bar in advance. So what does that do? It means that we don't have to fill up every mini bar every single day. So it saves us on labor. And it also, we put in the mini bar what the customer we know is going to buy. So it's not for free, but if the customer wants, let's say in my case, I love Red Bull sugar-free and some power bars and what forth. That's what's going to be in my mini bar. So that's a great example of us being able to save on the labor and also being able to give the customer what they want. That's the best example I can give you.
That is nice. So no Fidelio.
No Fidelio. I mean, we still use, poor Fidelio. But we still use some legacy systems because that's what exists currently in the industry. But I do think in the future that's going to change a little bit. But we've tried to, at the very minimum, try to change how those work, to our advantage a little bit, especially in terms of our app and our preferences program. So we've written quite a few APIs for sure.
Oh man, those things take forever to implement.
Yep.
You guys are. If you guys did all of that, you're on top of the line. Like
I think we still have a long way to go, and so does technology in the industry. But I do think it's coming for the future. I see a lot of great advances being made in hotel technology that are really going to, help the next generation.
Do you feel like Virgin Hotels is leading the way?
I think we've tried to do some things to advance what our consumers want, but I still think we have a long, long way to go. But we're in a unique position to be able to do it because we're still small.
That makes sense.
Yep.
With everything that's going on with COVID, we're putting a lot of work on our general managers, and some management companies have said, you know what, we're just going to have dual general managers, which means you have one general manager running 2 properties, and Lord knows what else. Like, what's your take on dual general managers, and do you think this is going to be the new norm? Or?
God, I certainly hope not. Not for the general manager's sake, because it's a great way to burn out hotel executives. I think we understand, and I think GMs understand that we're in trying times. So we have to try drastic measures just to meet payroll and taxes and mortgages and things like that. And I think for the time being, we all have to do whatever it takes to get there. But I think you also have to provide them the support that's needed, and you can't have let's say the same amount of reporting deadlines and forth that you had before with one general manager running 2 or 3 hotels at the same time. So I think it takes the home office and the GMs working closely together to find the right balance, and having the home offices support the general managers during this time. But I do think the GM's job is becoming more and more difficult these days, and we have to take care of those people. They're responsible for millions of dollars and $100 million assets and what for. So I think it's important to understand that they're under a lot of pressure as well.
Is this something that you see Virgin Hotels doing in the future, having dual general managers?
Not for us. I think our hotels are complex because we have such a vibrant food and beverage environment. So from our perspective, it's important for us for the GMs to be very front-facing and be out with the consumer and what forth. And we just think that if in that kind of a capacity, they won't have the time to do that.
Now, we know that you've dealt with a lot of new construction projects. Is there like some tips or some tactics or something that you can give us?
Oh my God, yes.
Because I don't want anyone looking like me. I know everyone loves my hair, so I don't want them to do this.
No, you have to worry about it. You look great. Look, I think construction is always, it's a difficult process from beginning to end. Even when you've done 100 hotels, the 101st could go wrong, right? I think a lot of the work up front is the most important thing. The programming of the buildings, the design up front, the proper costing out of the building, and when you're doing the underwriting process, make sure that the construction costs are also being underwritten correctly on the pro forma side of it, because if not, when the hotel opens, if it doesn't perform to that pro forma because of the construction cost, then inevitably it's not good for anybody. So I think a lot of homework in advance needs to be done. When you're doing independent hotels especially, and when you're doing brands like ours, which are complex because of food and beverage, it's really important that the team be experienced as well. The development team, the architect, the designers have been there before, so they can avoid the pitfalls that could occur. I told you about Chicago.
Yeah. Historic
building.
Yeah.
Took us longer, and we had a bunch of experts who had done historic hotels, but I think you have to account for that always. It's what could go wrong may go wrong. So a lot of upfront work, I think, is the most important thing.
What is the smoothest hotel that you did that was newly constructed, everything just went smooth ahead of schedule? Has that ever happened to you?
It really has, actually.
Surprisingly.
It's funny. I'll tell you a story before this. When I had my own company, Desires Hotels, we had a hotel we did in Milwaukee called the Iron Horse with a local developer named Tim Dixon. And Tim was the developer and was in charge of the project. And he said, look, it's going to take 18 months and it's going to open when? And it opened exactly on time. He was all over it. And that was one of the most successful hotels ever. That hotel went on to be #1 in TripAdvisor in the country, I think, and is still an amazing hotel. So that was one. Our New Orleans hotel that's going to open in July is scheduled to open in July. So it was a 24-month build, and it seems to be right on schedule. And so far, knock on wood, even with COVID, it seems to be opening on time. So it does happen, for sure.
And of course, with everything that's going on, with COVID, we have a lot of properties.
Yep.
They're struggling. They're having a hard time paying their mortgage. They're having a hard time paying their property taxes. Do you have any advice for those particular hotels that?
Yeah, I do. I think work closely with your local banks. You would be surprised in this environment, especially, how many people really want to help others, because they see that if they don't, the cascading effect of this pandemic will linger much longer than we think. So I just had an example of a friend of mine actually who had the situation with the local hotel and went to another bank outside of his bank, and the two banks partnered up to assist. But I think keeping relationships with your local banking investors is really, really important during this cycle, because I think everybody does really, really want to help. And I don't think the banks, again, this is not 1987, again, when you had all those foreclosures that went back to the banks and the SBA and everything else. It's a different time. The banks don't want the assets back, and they don't want to manage. They'd rather work with the investor closely and come up to some sort of an arrangement to help them get out of this pandemic in good shape.
And the property taxes, is there anything, maybe the bank can probably help them with the property taxes?
I think
as well?
so, and I think there's ways to do abatement and what forth and other things that you can do today, work with the bank and the lenders during this period of time, but everybody is willing to help, for sure. There is money on the sidelines that's willing to be lent during these kinds of times. So I would just say work closely with your local and your regional banks, and you'll find out that they really do want to help their communities.
Fantastic. Well, that's our time for today. Listen, if you have a great PowerPoint presentation, you need a CEO.
That's right. I can bring it to life. Just send it to me and we'll put it together.
Thank you so much, Raul.
Thank you. It's been great being here.
And thank you, guys. You know what we're here to do. We always want to make sure we give out the best information where leaders teach leaders. Thank you for tuning into another episode of True Hotel Leaders. And of course, thank you so much, Raul. We appreciate you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
So what will Virgin Hotels be like without the quarterback that took this team to the Super Bowl? Some say it will be like running it in the day and then having to check in the guests afterwards. Will this company have to post room and tax manually? Last year, we seen what happened when the quarterback left the team that they built. Only time will tell what will happen this year.